Hey, welcome back. It's always good to see you today. It is Sunday, it is noon, and yeah, kind of a last minute little live here. Sorry about that. I'm just procrastinating doing my taxes. So we're gonna do that by watching a couple of videos here. So I can't remember what else I wanted to get done today. So taxes it is because my brain is just not braining today. But a couple of little updates. Hey DV, how you doing? Um, a couple little updates from Girl World, I guess. Um, so Lex has a new girlfriend, and she posted on TikTok a video about her new girlfriend, some pictures, I think, as well. Um, and not gonna lie, when I saw the screen cap from the video, like the thumbnail of like the video of Lex's new girlfriend, um, I thought it was Amberlynn. Not gonna lie, I thought it was Amberlynn. Her new girlfriend has a striking resemblance to Amberlynn. Um, but uh, yeah, so that's interesting. So Lex broke up what, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with her girlfriend, and now she has a new girlfriend. Um, Man, some lesbians move really fucking fast. Here I've been single since 2019. I don't know. I don't know how y'all move within 2 weeks into a new relationship. I don't get it. Um, but there's that little update. Let's see, what else was there? Oh yeah, the video that was leaked. I don't think the video is out there anymore. I did see a screenshot from it. Um, and yeah, I don't think I want to see the whole video, and I'm glad I haven't. But yeah, that is that. I think that's. I thought I had another little blurb update to give, but I can't recall what it was. I don't know. We'll think of it later. But yeah, I guess she has a type DV. I guess. I don't know. But the same person that dug up the info on Dakota is the one on Kiwi Farms decided to dig into Alexis's new girlfriend, which I don't see a reason to go digging into these people. They aren't public figures. She just made the mistake of getting into a relationship with Lex. So I don't think we need to be doxing that person and sharing all of their links and info across these places. But that's what Kiwi Farms does. So Kiwi Farms is gonna Kiwi Farms and be messy. But I was just sitting here wondering how Lex came up with the name Spidey Lex. I wonder where that comes from. I don't know. Hey Mars, I have a coffee as well. And I don't have any other beverages up here because I forgot to grab one when I came upstairs. So after my coffee, I guess I'll just be parched. It's kind of late for you to be having a coffee. Is it going to give you sleep issues, Mars? A little evening coffee. But we do have. So I thought today we might watch. So Lex has a video that she uploaded after Amberlynn's last live, where Amberlynn had said that either one or two videos ago, Amberlynn had said that she and Alexis had had tone pecks. Um, we're gonna see what Alexis has to say about that. And then we're going to watch Therapy Today's videos, which I think will be really interesting to see his perspective as a mental health professional on Amberlynn's BPD stuff. Um, and Therapy Today is also going to be going live next week with Tiny Blue Anthropologist. I think they're going to be doing two lives. I think they're going to be live on Therapy Today's channel, and then I think also on Tiny Blue Anthropologist's channel. Um, I think Wednesday, I want to say. You would have to go look. I'm sorry. But we have those. Um, yeah, so I think it'll be really interesting to see what he has to say about the BPD and Amberlyn's, because everything I've learned about BPD is just from what I've looked up and read about the disorder. Um, and I am, of course, not a mental health professional. So, and so I think it'll be really good to see what he has to say and learn. And man, I hope he doesn't go down the girl world rabbit hole. Get out, man. Get out while you can. It's not a it's not a pleasant place to be. Do not get sucked in. Um, but thank you for the new subscriber. I just saw that I had a subscriber. So thank you. I've lost 5 or 6 in the last week or so. I get I'll gain subscribers and then I'll lose some and then I'll gain like 1 or 2 and then I'll lose some. It is what it is. Um, People don't like that I'm not just completely awful, which comes up in some of the chats as well. That I'm not awful to Amberlynn. But let's go. Oh, why am I not sharing my screen? Silly me. So my wife is not here. I'm a little sad about that. I miss my YouTube wife. I hope she's sleeping. She's probably doing yard work. But yeah, so we have Spidey Lex's little yeah, so I'm wondering where that Spidey Lex came from. And this video from Lex is titled I Had Tone Pecs with Amberlynn Reed. And then the little, eye hiding emoji and my thoughts on the Erica Valentine drama. Mars. I think some people expect Amber to be in the chat. I think they do because she's been in my chat before. She doesn't come into the chat anymore. Um, Even if she is watching live, she's not going to be in the chat. I don't think she often watches the videos live though, because she is out and about on weekends. So she may not even watch many of my videos anymore. I did tick her off one day because I said some things that she didn't like. But you know, that's that's part of the BPD, right? She has knee-jerk reactions and gets angry at people and is like, I'm not gonna speak to you. I'm not gonna watch you. All these things with people in their lives, which makes it so hard to have relationships and friendships with people that have BPD because they do have these extremes and go from one end to the other when they're unregulated and they don't know how to deal with it, which is hopefully what this DPT will do for Amberlynn, is give her the tools to regulate. Because as we all have seen, as Amberlynn uses her diagnoses as excuses, and she's always done this. Her diagnoses are always excuses for behaviors or things that happen in her life, like, oh, I ate this because I have binge eating disorder. Well, but then later she's like, oh, I don't have binge eating disorder. Well, then, so what was causing these previous things if it wasn't binge eating? She's not capable of taking the responsibility of it being her own actions. It always has to be something else. It always has to be, oh well, it's this fault. It's because of this diagnosis. Well, if you don't have binge eating disorder, then why were you binging on these if it wasn't binge eating? Is it just because you were stressed or you wanted to eat these things, or is it a food addiction? But it's always something else. And then she never does anything to fix these issues. It's just there, and then it becomes an excuse instead of being an explanation for why she would act a certain way. She uses it as a carte blanche to do what she wants and have no repercussion because, oh, it's not me, it's the BPD. Anyway, let's watch Lex's video here and see what Lex has to say about the tone pecs with Amberlynn.
Hello, hello, hello.
How is Lex's volume for you guys? Sorry, I can check a little bit, but I can't check fully.
All right, so I know I've been really quiet for like the last 3 weeks.
Probably because you didn't really have much to say. I mean, there wasn't a lot going on that concerned you.
Honestly, I've just had a lot going on. I've been living my absolute best life. I have been working on my music. I am seeing
Music.
somebody new, and she also does music.
Yeah, her new girlfriend's a DJ. Um, Working on her music. To each their own. Not my cup of tea. Um, but yeah, moved quick there. Moved quick into this new relationship. Heather, hey Stitch and Stream, good to see you, girly.
She actually just had a huge event on
Oh, well, look at that. Lex is posting info about her girlfriend on her channel. Not wise, not a good idea. If you are in girl world on any level, keep your partners far, far away. Yeah, Heather, I said that earlier too. I said that thumbnail on Lex's TikTok, I legit thought it was Amber when I first saw the screen cap. I thought it was Amber.
Saturday. So I've been busy all week just like working and helping her with her set and working on my own stuff, getting my music out. But overall, I feel like, I don't know, something has shifted for sure in my life, in my psyche, and I finally feel like I'm headed in the direction that I've always wanted to go in. I'm finally doing things that I've always wanted to do. Working on music and being involved with music production has been something that I wanted to do my entire life.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have the size of platform that you have right now if it wasn't because of your friendship with Amberlynn. So absolutely exploiting that relationship and trying to spill tea on Amberlynn and then pivoting away, which I'm happy that she might pivot away because it's like, what else do you have to possibly say about Amberlynn? You and Amberlynn no longer speak. You've you've completely made yourself look like a horrible person to be a friend with because who knows when you might turn on that next friend just because was it only because Amberlynn was a public figure?
But now that I finally have the tools and the skills and the resources and the connections that I have, and I'm able to make my music how I want it and how I want to make it, is just an incredible feeling.
So did you get that from the YouTube income from shitting on your former best friend?
I have also been networking like crazy, meeting new artists, talking about collabing with them. I've been participating in so many different kinds of events. I've been exploring so many different avenues, and I just feel blessed. I feel like everything is exactly where it should be and how it should be. And I know we're not used to positive updates in Girl World, but I just wanted to let you guys know I've been doing really well. Anywho, so
Glad she's doing well. I don't want anybody to be having a shitty life or shitty time, even if they are a shitty person.
there's a wide variety of different things that I want to just briefly touch on today. And as much as I don't want to talk about it, I feel like it needs to be addressed because every time that I'm in like a public space, if I comment on something publicly or like I'm in Jordy's live stream or even someone like Charlie Gold's live stream, like I am being
I've completely forgotten about Charlie Gold. Does Charlie Gold still make Amber content? I thought she'd moved on to something else. Um, and I thought that Jordy's live stream people had turned on Lex and were like, "Look, we don't want you here anymore." Am I mistaken on that, or are they still kissing her ass?
pressed about this situation. So let's just get into it. Let's get it over with right away.
And I want to speak on the whole Alexis thing. Alexis lies. Like,
Hey there. You're listening
Oh,
to State of
we
Survival
have an ad.
Radio. Calling all survivors who can hear this.
we had phone sex. Me and Alexis. Yes, we did.
Jesus Christ.
First and foremost, this situation happened once. One
So she did. There we go. You love Charlie Gold. I don't think I've ever seen a Charlie Gold video. Maybe one like years ago. It's Chris, Jordy's crowd for the most part. Hello, it's Chris, by the way. Give zero shits for Alexis.
Singular time. Secondly, you, Miss Ma'am, initiated it. I know that you can't go outside and just randomly like meet people that are romantically interested in you, but I don't have that problem.
Look at Lex tooting her own horn. Everybody wants me. So everybody's all like joking about how Amberlynn's like, oh, these guys always come up and are hitting on me. Amberlynn can find her somebody at the casino, apparently. Man or woman. Um, but apparently Lex can just walk out into the wilds of wherever the fuck she lives. Um, I don't know where she live in Wisconsin. Yeah, I think she's in Milwaukee. Um, and just have her have her pick of the lesbians of Milwaukee. Streams Amber's lives, and yeah, I had heard about that. I do too. It's Chris, but I have a much smaller Discord.
Like, yeah, I guess I've met a couple of my exes off Tinder, but like,
A couple of my exes off Tinder. All right, so Lex is on Tinder. I know people have called Lex like the biggest fucking catfish because she doesn't look anything like her pictures. Um, like I know the pictures that were posted whenever she met up with Amberlynn and Erica, or fuck, Emily. She did look quite a bit different physically than what we see than what we've seen in her TikToks. The filters be doing some heavy lifting. Um, but yeah, look at the Mars Spetty Lex. Good lord, Spidey Lex trying to Spidey flex. Yeah, I'd be like, I can get all the girls. I can get any girl that I want. Yeah, come on, Lex. Heather once counts. Absolutely.
I'm generally meeting most of my romantic interests in real life. Like with my last ex girlfriend, the one that I went on the double dates with Amberlynn with. I met her at my job, and she was on a date with a man, and I still pulled her.
Look at Lex being all full of herself here. She was on a date with a man. I still pulled her. She is so full of herself. Oh my God. I could never. I mean, y'all hear me talk shit about myself, but oh my God. Oh, I just,
And with my new girlfriend, I met her at one of her shows. After her show, I went up to her. I said, "Great set." She was looking at me. I was looking at her. And now she's my girlfriend.
oh my God. I was looking at her, she was looking at me. You know what that reminds me of? The Weird Al Yankovic. I think it's the Stuck in the Drive-Through song. There's a bit like that. Man, I need to go back to my edited video so I can add in these little clips that pop into my stupid little head. Mars. Personally, I just walk out my front door and a stranger will propose to me. It's hectic. You know, Mars, if I actually left my house, I'm sure I'd have the women all over me. You know what I mean? Fuck that. It's just so absurd to be like, yeah, I can basically get any girl that I. She was on a date with a man, and I still pulled her. So were you flirting with her, or was she flirting with you, and you pulled her away from her date? Come on now.
So, like, I generally don't feel the need to be having phone sex when I could be having real sex, but
But you did. You wanted Amberlynn. You had a massive crush on Amberlynn and you wanted to date Amberlynn. And when Amberlynn chose Emily over you, you got fucking pissed and started posting tea and shit videos at the beginning of August of last year. Come on now. And then when Amberlynn didn't give you all the attention you wanted in December, you did it again.
pop off, girl. Pop off. Realistically, like, she was just trying to say whatever to try to embarrass me in that moment because I know that she was pissed about the last couple videos that I had made. But having phone sex with me once is not this big accolade that you think it is.
I don't think she was saying it was an accolade. I think she was saying that uh you being all smug and, talking shit when you've done the same thing with her and you wanted to date her.
And honestly, I think it just helps prove that Amberlynn just needs the attention. She will just get the attention wherever she can get it. Like,
What's that say about you, though? What's that say about you with all of your I can get any girl that I want kind of attitude?
she really doesn't care. You just have to be a warm body. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are, who you are, what you look like, what you do with your life. If you're willing to fuck with Amberlynn, she is willing to fuck with you. Also, it's not really a secret that her and I were initially romantic with each other. Like, everybody knows that that is how our relationship began. So, unfortunately,
Right.
Amberlynn, that was not the big, profound mic drop moment that you were looking for. I know you think it was. And honestly, maybe it is a little embarrassing on my behalf. But at the end of the day, that was then, this is now, and we're moving on.
Yeah, but I mean, what's all this say about you? Like, all she wants is a warm. Well, you were willing to be that warm body, weren't you? You wanted to be that warm body for her, but she chose somebody else, and it pissed you off.
So, the next topic that I would like to talk about is Amberlynn's prolonged obsession with Erica, aka Valentine, who
I don't think Amber has an obsession with Erica. It's Brittany that continues to make these posts on Instagram trying to shade Amberlynn. I think Amber's completely done and just moved on from the Erica situation. But I mean, they blew up their own marriage and can't get past Amberlynn.
is once again another girl from the internet that Amberlynn never met in real life, who she is obsessed with. I also just want to put out there that this is the second girl within a calendar year that was in a long term serious relationship. Now, granted, Danielle wasn't married, but Erica was. Not that that really matters at all because Danielle, from my understanding, was in a 10+ year relationship. So doesn't really matter about the technicality of their relationship. I'm just saying that Erica was not the first girl that Amberlynn got into an online relationship with that already had a pre-existing partner.
Should Amberlynn be pursuing people in relationships? No. But what are these people in relationships doing pursuing Amberlynn? We all know the situation with Erica and Brittany. With Erica and Brittany deciding to troll Amberlynn, they have said this themselves. Oh, hey, you should message her? Okay. Oh, tell her that, we're only married for financial reasons and we're not really married. Amberlynn believed that for the longest time. And Erica and Brittany trolled Amberlynn, and Erica ended up getting feelings for Amberlynn. And, they fucked around and found out, and it ruined their relationship, allegedly. I don't know if they're actually divorced or not. I thought they were, but with Erica rushing to Brittany's defense, thinking that Amberlynn started all this shit with, oh, Brittany's obsessed with. Brittany's the one that posted that picture first.
I've done that so many times, I can't even think straight.
Anyways, so Erica had made an interesting comment, and I'm not exactly sure where Erica left this comment, but I
I don't
will
know
pull it
either.
and put it in the video when I'm ready to talk more about it. But first, I just want to say, like, Amberlynn, you never met Erica. You can tell somebody that you love them on the internet all day long, but until you're face to face and you truly get to know somebody, you don't know them. And for you to still be talking about both of them and dragging this out is absolutely ridiculous. So,
They're the ones posting this shit. Brittany's the one that continues to post shade in her Instagram. Amberlynn will mention them or bring them up if people ask, but Brittany's the one that continues to post these things. If Brittany, so Amberlynn can't see Brittany's Instagram, but other people can. and they will send screen caps to Amberlynn, or Amberlynn sees it when she watches reaction channels whenever we have screen caps, because a lot of us are able to see Brittany's Instagram. I'm one of them that can see it. Um, hey, Lizzie R. Oh, you're making cookies. What kind of cookies? Are they super healthy, like kale cookies? Oh, but you're in Canada, so you're with your dad. So maybe your dad isn't a health nut. Um, so yeah, I don't think Amberlynn's the one that's obsessed here.
Before we dissect and discuss Erica's comment, I would like to play devil's advocate for just a moment. So, do I think that Amberlynn still talking about Erica and Brittany is ridiculous? Yes. But also, at the same time, Erica was literally telling Amberlynn that she was going to leave Brittany to come move in with Amberlynn.
Right.
So I kind of understand why Amberlynn can't let this go. Whether they had started out messaging Amberlynn together or not, or as trolls or not, Erica, you got in your feelings about Amberlynn, and that is something you can't deny and you
Right.
can't downplay. There's so much evidence, and I've seen so much myself that other people have not seen. And honestly, Amberlynn was generous in only showing the things that she showed regarding your guys' conversations. Also, I do realize that Erica's ex-wife or current wife, whatever they are, I do not care. But I do realize that Brittany is attempting to antagonize Amberlynn still via social media. And all I really have to say about that is
Right.
Amberlynn, like, just look at how big of a mess her live stream was where she was trying to expose you. That shit was a mess. And the overall quality of the live stream and the audio and the picture, it was all awful. And then she
That is true. Alexis is at least admitting that the whole Brittany thing is just like their own doing.
whipped out this handy dandy note.
Oh, oatmeal raisin is awful, you people. What's wrong with you? If I get excited being like, ooh, chocolate chip, and that's a raisin, I feel betrayed. We are no longer friends.
Notebook acting like she had all these points to expose Amberlynn with and never brought them up. Like the entire way that she tried to go rogue and expose you solo through live.
I haven't watched that. I keep meaning to, because all of this shit was happening at the end of July, beginning of August last year, and I was traveling a lot for work in July and August of last year, and I had zero time, and I got really behind on a lot of these things.
Live streams was embarrassing. Like, I don't understand why you're still giving this girl the time of day. Like, she has no social leverage. She was not well received. People think she's weird. And also, no shade but shade. Erica cheated on her with you. That in itself is an
Right.
embarrassing element that, quite frankly, I don't know if I would be able to get over if someone cheated on me with you. So
I mean, I would not want to continue the best, lots of seasonings. I don't know, man. Oatmeal raisin. I like oatmeal cookies, but leave the raisins out. Put some chocolate chips in there. I like raisins on their own, but I don't like oatmeal raisin cookies. That's chickpea dough with dates, but they're real chocolate chips. Uh, Lizzie R, you do you, boo boo. I mean, that doesn't sound awful. I think I'm going to either tonight or Tuesday when I do some meal prepping. I'm going to try making some macaroni and cheese and making the cheese sauce with cottage cheese. So, um, so I bought some completely off topic. I bought some dates to try that little, put some peanut butter and then chocolate on the dates. It tastes like a Snickers. Um, the ones that I did, it didn't taste like a Snickers, but I think so. There's another recipe where you like lay the dates out flat and roll them, and then put peanut butter and then chocolate on top, and like let it sit. I need to try that one. No sugar. It's Chris. Go to Walmart. There's a brand. Let me look it up here for you. Um, I know Walmart is the double. You could probably get it somewhere else. Um, Bake Believe. I have some of these chocolate chips, the dark chocolate ones. I have some downstairs. I'll mix a few into my oatmeal. Um, Unsubscribing? Are you unsubscribing? It's Chris. No, here. Um, uh, the brand's Bake Believe. This is a pack of like 9 box or a case of 6, but you can get these at Walmart. Um, Lily's. Walmart also sells Lily's because I have a bag of Lily's salted caramel chips and I have a bag of these that I got at Walmart. Um, so you can get Bake Believe and Lily's no sugar added chocolate chips at Walmart. And let me see if I can get it. So I am in the Midwest, so my prices will be a little bit less than yours depending on where you live. Um, so a single bag, I'm trying to keep my address off the screen. Um, 4.92 for a 9 ounce bag. I mean, it's not horrible, but yeah, Walmart does have them, and they have the Lilies as well. I think the Lilies, yeah, the Lilies are a little more expensive, um, and a little bit smaller bag, but yeah, so yeah, Walmart does have those. I actually have some downstairs, right now. Yeah, now this is in the Midwest. You're in Canada, so it might be quite a bit more. But yeah, but Walmart does have them. And hey, you know what? If you really need some, join my Discord. Give me your address. I will ship you some sugar-free chocolate chips. I will send you some sugar-free chocolate chips. It's Chris. Book Barn. Is that a Canadian store? Yeah, Amazon is weird on some of the pricing for some of these things. If you go to Amazon to look for it, it's like, oh, 20 bucks for a single bag of something, and it's like, I don't think so. It's a little crazy. But yeah, if you can't find them or they're crazy expensive, I'll send you some. Let me boop boop boo, let me grab the link to the Discord there. So yeah, Mars, our cookie and chocolate talk is much more interesting than Lex.
Well, my best advice to you would just be let this girl do her thing. She's gonna fizzle out eventually. And
I have to say that I agree with Lex on that. Just ignore Brittany. We're gonna post shit and cover it because it's like, oh look, Brittany still can't get over the fact that her partner cheated on her with Amberlynn, and she's gonna keep reminding people of this fact because she keeps posting shit about Amberlynn.
and this may be a blow to your ego, Amberlynn, but they were having issues before you ever came along. You were not the end all be all to their relationship. Erica was not so immensely in love with you that this started the downfall of their relationship together.
Regardless of whether or not it started the downfall or didn't start the downfall, it seemed to be kind of the camel that broke the straw's back. It seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back on this one.
People don't go looking for other people unless they are unhappy already in their relationship. When you are happy and
Or unless they're just a serial cheater, because I believe I'd heard that Erica had cheated on Brittany before. So, um, people can go looking for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes it is, yeah, they're not happy. They're looking for something they're missing in their relationship, or sometimes they just can't keep it in their pants and they just like to show that they can get other people. Some people are just like that and just serial cheaters. Alexis so cringe. Lol, the camel. Yeah, the camel that broke the straw's back. That's gonna be the new saying, right?
In a relationship, you're not doing all this extra stuff with other people online or offline. So now let's get into what Erica actually said in this comment.
We've
So last night
covered
he used him.
Honestly, nothing better.
Your wife.
we've covered this before. I'm gonna speed her up on this to 1.25 because we've covered this comment before, and I think a lot of it is just Erica um trying to start shit, really. Um just just posting anything that she think will stick, trying to put doubts into people's minds because she knows how girl world is. She knows how the community is. So I think this is just Erica with that whole comment just trying to start shit. But I do love this here, the you look so effing sexy, and Amberlynn's just like, thank you. I love that. It's just such a flat response of thank you. just I don't I don't know. I don't know why that just amuses me. Why I'm just imagining just the oh you look so fucking sexy. Thanks. It's just
And you.
let's see. Oh yeah, Amberlynn was showing some screenshots. Lizzie, hey Lizzie, it's the name twins. We can be named triplets if we all go by Elizabeth. Yeah, it's Chris. It was a mess. Amber is so bad at flirting. Girl, I'm not gonna shame Amberlynn for that, because me too. Me too. You know that meme of me flirting? So, do you like bread? Totally me. I do not know how to flirt. So here we say, I want to make sure I'm there for every emotion you feel. I wouldn't let you cry alone or laugh alone. I love being myself with you. I want to take it one day at a time to make sure to make the most of it.
Tried to troll me.
New chapter, and I love you. You've been so good to me, and I want to be good to you in person. This is Erica. Now, also, remember that Erica spent like, what, $450 on that Batman Shadow Box Lego? And then also sent that really kind of sweet wall hanging of like the moon, of like, this was the phase the moon was in whenever we became one. The very sweet, thoughtful gifts. You don't do that for somebody that you're just fucking trolling. And I'm sorry if you can hear my Discord going off. I have two different Discord chats. People be chit chatting. Um, so it's yeah. So the love that I feel for you, I've never felt before. Erica is so fucking full of shit. Now, I do believe Erica caught feelings for Amberlynn. I think Erica fell for Amber and then tried to like backtrack and be like, "Oh no, no, I was just trolling. I didn't feel anything.
But your wife fell in love. Like, that's pitiful.
I've never experienced your type of love." So is that the soft soft love that Amberlynn craves? The fuck is a soft love? Yeah, sorry, it's Chris. That's my Discord. It's, it's my D&D gaming group. People are talking. I could mute it, but I don't care enough. You all can think it's your Discords. Sweet dreams, my love. I'll be calling you 8:30 my time. I love you so much. Give Wasabi a kiss for me. Good night, my queen. Heart, heart arrow, double heart, weird heart, sparkle heart, kisses, heart, arrow heart, double heart, weird heart, sparkle heart, kisses, heart, arrow heart, double heart, weird heart, sparkle heart, kisses, blah, 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 ad nauseum.
Pitiful. That's pathetic.
I'm so excited. Oh, I missed that one.
Like, that's pitiful.
I'm so excited to see you, baby, kiss you and hug you.
That's pathetic.
I love you. You make me the happiest I've been in years, and I can't wait to feel your touch. Now, granted, somebody like Erica that tends to be a serial cheater that gets people to be with them and be in a relationship whenever they're cheating on their partner, that type of person will tend to be able to say whatever the fuck they want in text and make you believe it and be like, oh no, baby, I love my ex-girlfriend that I've bitched about before, the one that I think had BPD or BPD or narcissism or something or both, whatever, was like this. She cheated on me. It was like, oh no, baby, I don't mean yeah. Completely just like Erica. Serial cheater and just yeah. I love Libby's dramatic reading.
You stay bothered.
Oh, and then this is just Erica talking to the wind, it seems. Yes, baby. I want to hold you. I want to feel Yapoo holding me. I want morning smexy time here. Ugh. Ugh.
And you stay obsessed.
I'm in love with you, Amberlynn. And then Amberlynn says, say goodnight. What kind of a response is that?
And it's getting a little cringe and a little out of hand.
Ooh, girl. Erica was really pissed that Amberlynn exposed some of their text messages together, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This feels weird to me. And honestly, this comment was just like, I get you're trying to spill tea, Erica, but like, this is just a little much. I understand that.
It's cringe, and I think a lot of it is Erica projecting, like all the stuff about Amberlynn's stepdad. I think all of that is just Erica trying to be messy and projecting. The thing about Wasab or the thing about Rarity is just complete fabrication. Um, yeah. So multiple people wearing that sweatshirt, but yeah, Brittany was one of them. Brittany was one of them trolling.
From Erica's point of view, like this is probably emotionally fueled. And I understand, okay, girl? Like Amberlynn has gotten my panties in a twist too. Okay, I get it. I have come on the internet angry, okay? I understand. Enough is enough, dude. Like you don't have like a channel. You aren't getting paid for this information. And like you guys never even met. So like what is the big deal? Like just
You're not getting paid for this information, so is the only reason to spill tea or whatever is to get paid? I mean, apparently that's the only reason that Lex is doing this shit. Even though Lex started out being like, I'm not even monetized. I'm just doing this because what the fuck ever, I don't know. But now it's like, you're not even getting paid. Well, yeah, Lex needs to heed her own advice.
leave it alone. Y'all need to leave each other alone. That is my professional advice to both of you. So
Your professional advice as what, a fucking AI DJ? Enjoy playing badminton.
until you meet and you actually know each other, like this is all hearsay. And honestly, I'm sick of hearing the hearsay. I'm ready for the next season. I'm ready for the next side character. Like, let's go, Amberlynn. Come on. It's starting to get dull. I'm pretty sure
She can't bring in any side characters because people dox the fuck out of them.
Beck is done exposing you with everything that's going on with them right now, at least for now. So, like, please, like, do us all a favor. Bring the next character on. Like, we're ready. We know you're talking to people. And in one of your most recent videos, you had mentioned that you're still talking to Danielle. That's crazy, by the way. Actually, you know what? Bring her on. Bring Danielle on the show. Let's get her on the cast. Let's get her on payroll. Also, I've seen pictures of Danielle. Low key, y'all would be kind of shook. When Amberlynn sent me all her pictures, I was like, okay, I understand the obsession. I got it. Yep. But anyways,
Why, is Danielle a hottie or something?
in Amberlynn's video where she was talking about how she made a lifelong friend out of Danielle. I don't think she said her name, but that is 100% who she was talking about. I could make an entire video of just the text messages that Amberlynn has sent me about Danielle. Like one day Danielle would be all over her. They would talk about meeting up. Danielle would talk about leaving her partner for Amberlynn and how she like loved Amberlynn. But then the next day she would like ignore her, be talking about like her hookups with other people, even though she was in a relationship, like she was cheating anyways.
So that doesn't sound like the kind of person that Amberlynn should be getting involved with. They should, that kind of person should be firmly kept in the friend zone.
And then she would tell Amberlynn things like, oh, me and insert partner's name here are like having a nice little time in the hot tub together. Like, what? And Amberlynn continued to talk to her, continued to like be obsessed with her, continued to try to like stalk her life out. But in the times where Danielle wasn't paying attention to her, she was talking to Erica and Abby. But Danielle was always her number one choice. I want to make that very clear. So for her to one, be saying that she's still talking to her, and two, that she made a lifelong friend out of her, like that is just so beyond insane to me. But anyways, I went off on a Danielle tangent there, but it's relevant because the stories that Amberlynn has with these girls are very similar. Okay, so now I'm going to actually get into what Erica said. I have previously gotten a couple of comments on prior videos saying that I need to read my screenshots out loud because some of you are listening to this like podcast.
Hello, Mistress of the Dark. The new girlfriend is FRO. Is that for real? For real something? I'm not up on these new abbreviations. I'm old.
Style. So as I'm reading along, I'm going to share what I personally know about what Erica is saying in this comment. So Erica's comment reads, I think I'll say what I need to say. By the way, did you let Rarity loose because you claim she scratched your leg and gave you cellulitis? So
Oh yeah, Mistress of the Dark. We've said that before. I said at the beginning of the video that when I first saw like the screen cap from the TikTok that Alexis shared of her new girlfriend, I legit thought it was Amber in the screenshot.
well, this is actually something that Amber has said to me before. There were a couple of times in our almost year and a half friendship where she had gotten cellulitis, and I do remember there was one specific time where she said it might be from Rarity scratching her, which honestly might be the case. I know she has 2 cats. I myself have 1 cat, and if I'm not cleaning her litter box every single day, I mean, it's nasty. Like, realistically, do you think that Amberlynn is cleaning out her litter box that she had for 2 cats every single day? Definitely not. But yeah, I mean, Rarity's nails, I mean, those are probably long too. All of their nails were probably long too. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible that Rarity had feces on her nails. And if Amberlynn's immune system is already weakened and she's already predisposed to having cellulitis more often than a lot of other people, I mean, this makes sense to me. So yes, she has mentioned this before. And then Erica said, yet you refused doctor's orders for the skin cream.
I saw people say that in Amber's life. She said that's not why I let Rarity out. I don't remember hearing that. I would have to go back and look or listen. Um you don't have your reading glasses. Um I don't think she let Rarity out. I think that was her just reading it again and saying the same words. Um I don't think she let Rarity out. I think Rarity got out by mistake because the door was left open. Um so
I don't know anything about that. But then Erica said, are you not calling Steven your stepdad anymore because he keeps making inappropriate comments to you at bingo? Amberlynn has never, ever mentioned her mom's whatever, fiance or boyfriend or whatever to me, to any capacity. So if she did by chance say something like that to Erica, it was definitely to make Erica jealous, which Erica did not need help being jealous because she was already super possessive and super controlling.
and Amber did say that, so I guess we have Alexis confirming that she's seen text messages of Erica being this way. So, I mean, we had Amberlynn tell the story of like being at like Trader Joe's, and Erica's like, "Oh, show me your shopping cart." And Amberlynn took a picture of the shopping cart, and Erica was like, "That's not your mom's leg. Who's standing so close to you?"
So when Erica said that, apparently Amberlynn said that he was touching her leg and saying creepy things to her. I don't know about any of this. However, Erica would not really let Amberlynn talk to me. Like she would always tell Amberlynn that she didn't want her talking to me. So during this Erica era, we barely had a friendship. And then Erica asks, "How's Twinkie? Are you still demanding her to give you her paw before you feed her? Is she still pissing in the bathroom?" Ooh.
So I know that Amberlynn would do the give me your paw before giving Twinkie a treat. We've talked about this before. So I think that was just a little lots of people do that with their dogs. Give me your paw, do this. Okay, here's your treat.
So I don't know about the paw and the feeding thing. That has never been brought up. However, I do know that Amberlynn lays down puppy pads in her apartment. I never mentioned it to her, and she was always normally really good about not showing her floor, but I mean, I did see it once or twice. She didn't like often get up and move around during a FaceTime, but sometimes she did, and there was once or twice where I did see a puppy pad on the floor. And then Erica starts asking about Amberlynn's mom and if they've had any fights because Amberlynn's mom chose Steven over Amberlynn. In the year and a half that I was friends with Amberlynn, I mean, like, I literally was friends with her when she started living in Oklahoma. And she used to tell me everything. So, and she's never told me that her and her mom have fought ever, ever, at all. She's mentioned a couple times where like some things that her mom said or did irritated her, but Amberlynn doesn't get close enough to her mom to really get upset enough to fight with her. As far as her mom goes, I mean, this might be a trauma response from Amberlynn, but she just detaches from her mom. Like when her mom is saying or doing stuff she doesn't like, she just doesn't talk to her. I think Amberlynn genuinely does enjoy having a relationship with her mother now.
I'm sure she does, and that probably is how Amberlynn would react given her past and childhood. Oh, hey, Lizzie, you're still here. Good to see. I thought you had things to do, so I'm glad you're here. Erica being possessive is a little crazy considering she had a whole ass wife. I know.
But I also think that Amberlynn doesn't want to lose her only means of transportation. I don't know if you guys know this, but Amberlynn is a lot more calculated than any of you might think. Like, yes, she's kind of ditzy. Yes, she doesn't really sound that educated when she speaks, but she is a lot more sneaky and calculated than you guys would really think.
I'm sure she is.
Anyways, and then Erica said that she's hoping that her mom gives her a ride to the dentist. She knows how the cracked tooth is painful, considering the fact that Amberlynn did not think she needed a regular cleaning or to floss, and that brushing would take care of all of that. Don't know anything about this, but this is boring. This is a snooze fest. I'm falling asleep. And then she gets into all of this over a sweatshirt of now multiple pictures of other people are wearing. Clearly, Erica also is not great with the grammar. That's okay. Anyways.
No one can ever love you. Apparently you did, Erica.
Your wife or your ex-wife is trying to antagonize Amberlynn, and so are you, and you're both weird. And then Erica gets into this poetic moment of saying, "You won't ever change. No one can ever love you simply because you dig your claws into every fiber and breath of the person you've chosen to manipulate." Erica, I know that you're trying to display examples of your new hobby, which is clearly poetry, but put a pause on it, Edgar Allan Poe. This is enough. I think you should
Edgar Allan Poe. That was actually funny, Lex. that was that was a good one. I'll give her credit on that one. That was good.
just stick to what you know, which is cheating on your wife.
Cheating.
Anyways, I don't want y'all to think that I'm defending Amberlynn, because I'm really not. I just think Erica is fucking pathetic. Like, she thinks she's so cool, she's so hot, she's so sexy, like, bitch, gag. Anyways, guys, there are a couple of things that I wanted to touch on in this video, but I think I'm gonna save it for another video. If there's anything that you guys would like me to touch on or elaborate on, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, bye. Bye.
All right. You don't love your haircut? Oh, that sucks. What do you not like about it? You didn't show us in Discord. We didn't see the haircut. All right. So not a lot learned in that video from Alexis. Oh my goodness. Therapy Today's video is 42 minutes long. Ooh, all right. We might only watch one of his videos. He has two. We might have to watch the other one. If I can squeeze it in tomorrow between work and D&D, I'll see if I can. I don't know how long it is. We'll see. We'll see if I can squeeze it in. You feel like it's not shaggy enough. Hmm. There's my wife. Lizzie, you should have let me do it with my pocket knife. Oh, there's my YouTube wife. About time you showed up. All right, so we are going to watch Therapy Today's first video about Amberlynn's BPD titled Bye, Heather. You can watch this bit later. So we have, does Amberlynn Reed have borderline personality disorder? Therapist reacts, and he does have things here. So this will be good to this will be really good to learn more about it and to see what he thinks about the whole thing. Like one thing with Amberlynn and that workbook, the problem that I could possibly see with that is, I mean, like I've said before, therapy is only as good as what you're reporting to your therapist. You know, that's kind of the same thing. You need to stay off that damn ankle. Don't make me come out there, wifey, and make you stay off your ankle. Um, uh, the problem with like the therapy and like having these appointments and things, whether it's with a dietitian or a therapist, or what channel do you post it in? Let's see. You can post it in um uh I don't know, either like health and wellness or just the general or the self promotion. I don't know, any one of those. Um, I need to make a maybe make a channel just for like general pictures. Um, yeah, one of the problems that I see with this thing, especially with Amberlynn, um, uh, is uh, it all relies on self-reporting, right? So your therapy and all of these appointments completely rely on what you're telling your therapist or your doctor, psychiatrist, your dietitian. All of it hinges on how honest and how good you are at reporting, and it's going to be completely from your point of view, um, especially when it comes to like situations involving other people. um, I think most therapists and psychiatrists and these types of people would be good at kind of parsing down to, okay, well, why did this happen? What do you think the other person was thinking? And then you might be forced to like say what they actually said. And the problem with this workbook, in my opinion, is with Amberlynn. Amberlynn is very black or white, extreme, extreme, not much in the middle. So if the book is like, have you ever felt this? Oh, yes, all the time, all the way. Everything is super extreme for Amberlynn. So that's my problem with her kind of having this DPT workbook. Um, because doing the self-diagnosing through the workbook and these sorts of things before working with the therapist, it's very much Amberlynn's feelings, and Amberlynn's feelings are very extreme on her, like how all these things play out and work. But yeah, so let's get into this here. And do not go down the girl world rabbit hole.
And some trepidation
Oh,
that
here
I
we
am.
go.
It is with some fear and some trepidation that I am diving into another YouTuber's channel today. So I was recommended by one of my subscribers, but they suggested I take a look at Amberlynn Reed. Now, this person is a fairly well-established YouTuber. I think she's been on the platform for 11 or
Yes.
so years at this point, and apparently there's a lot of history and there are some concerns about abusive behavior. But recently she's been talking about her diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. And so this viewer was just interested in some of the thoughts that I had. Now, I come in with a lot of hesitation because just like what happened in other videos where I started talking about Ren or other content creators, these YouTubers just generally have a very loyal following. So I was worried about wading into some of the drama.
I think you'll find that Amberlynn has more of a hater following, a lot more detractors that are more vocal. Um, but so if he says anything positive about Amberlynn or agrees with anything that Amberlynn says, you could expect people to be upset that he's doing any kind of validation.
And not having the full picture of things, but we're going to take it for what it is.
I think that's a good way to go in though, because he's not going in with any kind of preconceived ideas or preconceived opinions. So I think it's good for him to kind of just be going in with, let's look at only this and see what he can extrapolate from it.
And we're going to dive into some aspects of her channel today. At least for a start, her two most recent videos, as of the time of this filming, where she talks about her diagnosis and her treatment and therapy for borderline personality disorder, and just to shed light on what can be a very vilified kind of diagnosis. So with all that being said, we're going to dive into her channel, into some of these videos, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so the first thing that kind of irrationally bothers me about her channel, right? And there's a bit of jealousy in here too. We're talking 245,000 subscribers over 2.6K videos. And of course, she's been posting for a lot longer than I have. But this bothers like the type A person in me. I'm trying to follow all of the rules for making like very catchy titles and eye-catching content for thumbnails. And she's just got stills basically from her videos and getting multiple thousands of views. So that's just, you know.
That's because she already has an established base though, right? She already has this built up base of viewers, so her thumbnails can be just screen caps from her videos.
That's just me being kind of petty and jealous. Putting all that aside, we're going to go into this with as objective a mind as possible. Okay, so we're going to the first video that we're going to look at, this torrid try-on haul, our mukbangs coming back, and the 9 BPD criteria traits. A lot of this is a foreign language to me, though the only part that I understood was the 9 BPD criteria traits, and that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to jump straight to when she's talking about the borderline personality disorder traits, or as close as I can get.
But here's the build update. Day 4, I'm on step 181 out of 584 steps, and this is how it looks so far. Hello. So it is the next day. It is March 2nd. So I actually saw my mom for a bit today, but I did not vlog that. I've had a pretty...
Amberlynn speaks so fucking slow. I may have to speed this up. Oh, it's all good, Lizzie.
Decent day, and if you guys hear noises in the background, it's because I'm currently drying some clothing. This is a big box because I'm actually fixing to like remodel, for the lack of a better word, out with the old and with the new, a lot of like my kitchen stuff, so I might vlog some of that, we'll see. So as you guys probably remember, I got recommended by a professional 2 borderline personality disorder books, and instead of doing both at the same time because I don't want to get overwhelmed on top of doing therapy, I decided to start with this one. And as you...
Okay, understandable that she doesn't want to dive into 2 workbooks at the same time, and sometimes they do have kind of conflicting ways that they go about their process when it comes to treatment. So if you are going to do your therapy alongside workbooks, definitely make sure that it's consistent with the way that you're conceptualizing your whatever disorder or diagnosis you're dealing with, and that your therapist or whoever your professional is kind of in line with what you're working on at the time. It doesn't help so much for your therapist to be focusing on one thing and then the workbook's over here talking about something else completely different. They should.
So weren't these books recommended by her initial therapist, but then she's changing therapist? She has a different therapist now, so it'll be interesting if the new therapist is also in alignment with these workbooks. My nose itches.
Should inform and support each other. I am curious why she doesn't mention what exactly the title is of her mental health professional, but I guess that's neither here or there. A lot of people don't know kind of what my title is either. I've been called doctor a lot of times, but I always make sure to correct people. Like, I did not go to school for that amount of time for that, and I have not earned that degree.
You guys know I want to keep therapy sacred to myself, but I do want to share my struggles with borderline personality disorder because I struggle bad, and that is a very big part of me, and I want to be very transparent in my journey of like healing that part of me. So we're going to talk.
Okay, about the language right now, I unfortunately scrolled down and read some of the comments. A lot of people are saying that she gave herself that diagnosis. She's never been officially diagnosed. So I'm kind of curious for those of you who are more in this community or who have followed her and watched her videos, what's the story about that? Because she's obviously seeing somebody who is treating her for borderline personality disorder, or at least that's what I gather from what she's saying. And
Right.
so I'm kind of curious about people saying that she's not actually diagnosed with this. But we'll kind of go off of the assumption.
Because people always say that Amberlynn is never diagnosed with anything by a professional. They think she is completely solely self-diagnosed. And a lot of that I think comes from her always saying, "Oh, I have this," without actually having talked to a professional about it. However, she was working with the psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, whatever their title was, when she was doing the weight loss journey or the weight loss surgery, possibly. Um, and she said that that therapist did tell her that she has BPD and he wouldn't be able to work with her or wouldn't be the best person because that's not, or he or she, because that's not their specialty. And then she moved to Oklahoma and it's taking her a year and a half to finally find a new therapist.
That she's been diagnosed and see where she's coming from with that.
Talk about chapter 1 today. So chapter 1 is called BPD 101, and some quotes from it that I want to read are: most people misunderstand what borderline personality disorder is and how it impacts people's lives, which is very true. It's not just the lives of the person that has it, but it's also like the lives of the people around that person. Also,
yeah, absolutely. In multiple relationships, that's actually one of the criteria for almost any personality disorder, is that it's not just an internal thing, but the fact that it's a personality disorder means that it leads into disordered relationships, patterns of relating to other people that are harmful either for yourself or for them.
Has Kyrie texted you back?
Sure.
I don't want to talk about it.
How was the math test?
Don't want to talk about it.
so something else is
If he's making videos of her, he should go and do his homework on her and watch her past videos. So that would be a lot, though, Sai. I think going in fresh here, but I think reading the comments, because a lot of the comments are going to be negative, I think he should not be reading the comments.
It says is getting a clear picture of your BPD is the start of a journey of self-exploration, which will allow you to grow beyond your BPD, and that change is possible. It says that many individuals who meet the criteria for BPD can look back at their childhood and adolescence and see the beginning of the symptoms and patterns, which is so beyond true.
Okay, I was just going through a DBT training. DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, is like the gold standard for treating borderline personality disorder. And so the trainer was talking about one way that borderline traits can develop. If someone felt ignored in their emotions or invalidated in their emotions early on, then they learn early on and they are trained basically to have very large reactions because that's the only thing that garners a response from their caregivers or from the people around them. And so that's not 100% what happens in every case, but that is a way that the trainer talked about that these kind of borderline traits can develop in some of these very intense responses to perceived little insults or slights, or even when no harm was intended, that they respond very big because they've been taught very early on that that's all people will respond to. That's the only way you'll actually get the attention that you are seeking and the care that you're seeking.
That would make sense. That would make sense for Amberlynn's past, like especially being in like foster care and like group homes and things where there's multiple kids. The only way to get that attention from whoever's in charge or from the adults would be to have a big reaction because there's so many different kids that need their attention. And then when she was a kid with her parents, living with her parents, they were on uh, illegal substances a lot. So maybe to get their attention, she would have to have an outburst or big reaction to things. And that's how she is in her real life. I've even mentioned this before that Amberlynn reacts drastically to anything that's the littlest of slights. And she will just have this really massive, immediate knee jerk reaction to it.
I look back and realize that like at the age of 16, I was struggling. So there's 9 criteria listed, and an individual needs to meet at least 5 of them to be diagnosed and qualify for the diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. I'm going to read the 9 to you, and then I'm going to tell you guys which ones that I have. So number 1 is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. 2, a pattern of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. 3, identity disturbance, markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self.
Okay, she was taking a break there, so I'm going to pause and talk about some of what she's talking about right now. We're talking about the rapid shift between idealization and vilification of somebody. A lot of clinicians that I've worked with have talked about when they realized later on that they were working with somebody who was struggling with borderline personality disorder, that at first they seem very personable, very eager to please. And so that comes with some of the instability of identity too, that they try to fit and mold themselves into whatever they think the other person wants. And then later on, there might be some
That would make sense for Amberlynn's relationships.
kind of perceived insult or some way that you've wronged them, and then you've become their worst enemy. So it's a
Right.
vacillation
Amberlynn does that to reaction channels a lot.
between those extremes, that push and pull, that is very characteristic of borderline personality disorder. And then when you talk about some of the other traits and symptoms that go into that, it becomes a very dangerous and harmful one in relationships and for the person.
My dryer just went off. Hold on a second. Number 4 is impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging. For example, spending, sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, binge eating. Number 5 is recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures or threats, or self-mutilating behavior.
So that does say reoccurring. I don't know if Amber has reoccurring, but...
Number 6 is affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood. So for example, intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days. Number 7 is chronic feelings of emptiness. Number 8 is inappropriate, intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. For example, frequent displays of temper, constant anger, recurrent physical fights. So the last one, which is number 9, transient stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. And out of the 9, I have all 9. But there is one that
you see his face there? I had the same reaction of like, having all 9. But again, like I said, Amberlynn thinks extremes. Oh, I feel this all the time. Oh, I feel this. So going through this workbook on her own.
I even questioned marking off because it's so low, like on the totem pole. So next part of this chapter was talking about how BPD is a spectrum. It says,
okay, so I gotta pause it. That really caught my attention when she said she meets all 9 criteria. I'm gonna pull this up real quick, what she was talking about. Now, I'm looking at a multi-dimensional definition and criteria for borderline personality disorder. The way that hers was structured was just a
What's for dinner? Have a good night, Mars.
Straight down checklist, basically. And this is where I might have some questions for her mental health professional. The impression that I'm getting is that she started seeing this person fairly recently. And
Right,
so
brand new.
if that is the case, if she does not carry in a prior diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, then that diagnosis was made very quickly. And part of the features of a personality disorder,
She was bringing it in from the therapist again. You guys know this from when she was doing the weight loss surgery.
is that that is one of the last resort diagnoses that you're going to make, because so many of these other symptoms are characteristic of other diagnoses that are more temporary, that can be explained more contextually. And you're talking about personality disorder is persisting across multiple environments across long periods of time, because you're talking about there is something wrong with the way that they interact with themselves and with others. And so So let me skip down to C, D, and E, right? The impairments in personality functioning and the individual's personality trait expression are relatively stable across time and consistent across situations. So this is why I'd be concerned if this new person, I'm assuming they're a new mental health professional for her, diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder right off the bat. They don't have the time and the history with them to say that this personality functioning and trait expression are stable across time.
So this is where I think having a little bit of history for him would be helpful in knowing that her previous therapist did diagnose her.
Inconsistent across situations. They just don't know them like that. And then D, the impairments in personality functioning and the individual's personality trait expression are not better understood as normative for the individual's developmental stage or sociocultural environment. And so this is important, because if you look at all of the symptoms, borderline personality, if you're talking about impulsivity, risk-taking, antagonism, disinhibition, depressivity, like we can go down the list. A lot of these things are actually fairly normative when it comes to adolescence. And so that's an important differential piece to talk about. And that's why I'd be curious if she was coming in to me as a therapist saying, hey, I have borderline personality disorder and I've been dealing with this since I was 16, I would be digging for some actual examples of what she meant by struggling with BPD at the time, because a lot of the symptoms here are going to be seen in many 16-year-olds. Unfortunately, not that it's a good thing, but that it is normative for that stage in life. And that's why we're not going to diagnose anybody with a personality disorder until they're 18 at the very earliest. And of course, the difficulty is, again, I'm taking this with a grain of salt that some people have said she's self-diagnosed, or if she's going to a professional and has gotten this diagnosis. is that when you're talking about the impoverished, poorly developed, or unstable self-image, often associated with excessive self-criticism or chronic feelings of emptiness, that is not a very reliable source to be talking about self-diagnosing a personality disorder. And so if she were presenting this to me, if I were her therapist, I would be curious and really want to maybe get some reports from other people, other
Right.
significant people in her lives, if she were willing for that to happen, of course, and to really see if this has been a persistent and stable pattern of the way that she relates to others, rather than just, oh, I've experienced this once in my life, I've experienced this a couple of times. That's where it can get a little tricky when it comes to just those checklist kinds of criteria, where it's just like, oh yeah, I did this, I've experienced this, I've experienced that.
Right.
But really looking at it as a full pattern, a long-standing and persistent pattern, instead of this has happened to me once or twice. And so it does take a lot more careful digging, a lot of follow-up questions to really come to that diagnosis, because it is a really heavy diagnosis. I think the book is not wrong. It is very misunderstood, and a lot of people will back off from you once they realize that you have BPD, and it can almost be a self-fulfilling prophecy and very isolating in that people might not want to be around you if they know that you have that diagnosis. All right, back to the video though.
It says in here that the intensity and severity of each part of the criteria is unique to each person. So I had to answer a ton of questions to see like where you fall on the spectrum, and I fell on extreme. You're supposed to circle, is this statement for you mild, moderate, severe, or extreme? Gave
For Amberlynn, everything is extreme though.
a ton of statements. So like one that I circled extreme on was frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. There was quite a few that I circled extreme and severe on. Actually, I circled severe and extreme on every single one except for one. And then another.
Okay, again, issues with self-report when it comes to borderline personality disorder.
Right.
If you're talking about that, one of the characteristics of BPD is emotional lability, unstable emotional experiences and frequent mood changes, emotions that are easily aroused, intense and or out of proportion to events and circumstances, intense feelings of nervousness, tenseness, or panic, often reaction to interpersonal stresses. And then you're going to ask them to fill out a subjective measure of how frantic are you when you're dealing.
Right. That's the one. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. That's one of the biggest issues with this, is because Amberlynn is like everything is extreme, right?
With potential rejection, you're going to get some very intense answers. Obviously, I've never read the book. I don't have that book and I haven't reviewed it. This is not a review of the book, but if you're going to have potentially people who have BPD work through this book, I'd have some more specific language rather than just kind of copy and pasting the DSM language, because that's subject to clinical interpretation, and you're asking non-clinical people to evaluate that for themselves. And that may not be helpful. She might be telling herself that her diagnosis is a lot more severe than it actually is. Of course, I don't know her, so I don't know. Again, leave that to you, the community, to kind of form your own opinions on that. Again, I'm never trying to diagnose here on this channel, so I'm just evaluating the process that she's going through, not whether or not she actually has borderline personality disorder.
Part of this chapter was just like a Q&A. So obviously I'm not going to read all of my answers to you guys because some of them are personal, but one of them I can read to you guys just so you guys can like understand me a little bit more. In what part or parts of your life, for example, relationship with family and friends, work, how you see yourself, and so on, do these symptoms cause the greatest problems? When I'm in a romantic relationship with someone, it is the worst. So that's where it causes the greatest problems. But it has caused problems with family/friends as well. So it's very rare that it causes problems within my family, thankfully. But like if I have a friendship where I'm extremely close to them and I see them like a lot, it can definitely cause problems in that friendship.
That's curious that you would have this extreme borderline personality disorder that seems not to affect your family relationships, where a lot of times that's the origin. That's where you would first notice that pattern. And according to the DVT trainer, where a lot of those personality traits and habits may have their origination. So I'm curious.
But taking into account that her relationship with her family has pretty much been non-existent for a large portion of her life.
Curious about that family system. Again, I don't know her content well enough to know what her relationship with family members is like, but that makes me think, and seems kind of atypical for someone who would say that they have a very severe case of borderline personality disorder, that, oh, things are okay with my family, it's just with friends and romantic partners I really struggle.
And obviously when it comes to a partner, because I am talking to them a lot and they become almost like someone I'm reliant on. And I know that's also due to my BPD. When I say reliant, I mean I'm reliant on them like mentally, emotionally, due to like the fear of abandonment, which is really where BPD is like rooted from.
Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot, but what she said there does make a lot of sense, that we talk about the identity instability or the feeling of emptiness. And so yes, finding a lot of emotional support and your own sense of identity in your relationship with that other person can be very characteristic of BPD. And
that would come back to, you know how we all always say that Amberlynn takes on the personalities of her partner? and really adopts those personalities. It sounds like that's part of her BPD.
That's also why when there's any perceived risk of that being taken away or you losing it, you will fight and you will hang on and you will do some scary and potentially dangerous things to try to keep that sense of identity that you've tried to build for yourself around this other person.
The last thing I want to share is a quote from here. Feeling alone is very common for people with BPD, so common that it's in the criterion, which in parentheses it says chronic feelings of emptiness, but you're not alone. Approximately 18 million, or nearly 6% of adults in the United States have been diagnosed with BPD. That shocked me, and it definitely...
That also shocks me, and I looked that up. That number is slightly misleading. This is from the NIH, National Library of Medicine, and this article, they estimate the prevalence of BPD in the general population between 0.7 and 2.7%, not the 5 or 6%. They say in primary care the prevalence is 6%, and the rate is 11 to 12% in outpatient psychiatric clinics and 22% for psychiatric inpatients, which makes sense. The more intense of a service that you are providing in the mental health world, the more likely it is that you're going to have people with personality disorders in that group. But in the general population, we're looking at a lower number of maybe 2.7% at the highest, at least based on this article, compared to the 6%.
Really made me feel less alone. And this first chapter was honestly so just like validating. Like I've already done the whole criteria thing because when I was diagnosed, I had to go through all that. But it's like just doing it again and like thinking of it differently with like a whole different mind frame. I'm able to be more like transparent with myself because I'm not ashamed anymore. For the longest time, like I was ashamed. That's why when people would be like, Amberlynn, I think you have borderline personality disorder, like I would become so defensive. Like I don't understand why. I don't know why anyone would ever be ashamed or embarrassed of something that they went through that caused them to have this. Like it's not your fault. Like, so if you're watching and you're struggling and you have any sort of like shame or embarrassment, simply don't. All right, you guys, we're gonna do it.
I can get behind her last message. Yes, I think part of the importance of talking about mental health, having statistics on the prevalence of things like BPD, is because there is a lot of stigma associated with it. Like I said before, it can be a very isolating disorder. Once people recognize that about you, they are very wary of becoming attached because of the stories they heard.
It's understandable. Yeah, I mean, people would be like being in a relationship with Amberlynn, whether it's friendship or romantic. I would think that you would feel like you were needing to walk on eggshells a little bit just because you don't know what could possibly set her off or make her have like an extreme reaction to something that you do or say.
Because of the stigma associated with having a personality disorder. And so I think understanding that and recognizing that you are more than just a diagnosis of even something as big as a personality disorder is important and can be empowering to know that, hey, this is what's going on and there are treatments for it. I can do things to manage this. It is not a death sentence. And I think that's an important part of what she's doing. Again, not saying whether she has a diagnosis or not, or whether she's even a great person or a role model to follow, but more so that just being able to share that message and have that model of being willing to talk about it, not in a glorifying way, but just like, hey, I'm going through it, I'm dealing with it, I'm going through the process. I think that can be very powerful. All right, we're gonna dive into this second video where she is opening up about some of her BPD symptoms and Amazon haul. I'm going to skip the Amazon haul and try to find where she's talking about her symptoms. So this is the next video right after the first one.
Stream today. So fingers are crossed that everything goes good. I want to talk more. It's our little BPD segment of my vlogs. So on top of doing EMDR therapy for it, I also am doing workbooks that was recommended to me.
Okay, real quick pause. EMDR is not necessarily the first line that you would go to when it comes to borderline personality disorder. Like I mentioned earlier, that would generally be dialectical behavior therapy. I'm not here to critique her therapist or whoever her person is. It may be that they're just trained in EMDR and that's what they specialize in. And I can see it having practical theoretical benefits for somebody struggling with BPD. Usually it's associated with trauma. And so EMDR is really good for helping with the emotional reactivity associated with trauma. And so I can see how that can treat some of the concerns associated with borderline personality disorder. When it comes to DBT, what you're talking about is first, yes, the emotional regulation is key. That's the first step that any DBT therapist is going to work with you on, is being able to be aware and manage those emotional reactions. But then what you develop later on is interpersonal effectiveness. And this is
Amberlynn definitely needs that, and there needs to learn how to manage those emotional responses and recognize them.
Is how you change the patterns of your relationships. How can you respond appropriately to perceived provocation, or even recognize that somebody was not trying to insult you or someone's not trying to reject you or leave you, and then being able to communicate assertively instead of aggressively. So I'd say like EMDR is not a bad start. Like I don't want to hate on her therapist or whoever her person is. So it just caught me by surprise a little bit that someone would default to EMDR for something like a borderline personality disorder. But again, their process is their process. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just curious.
In my last vlog, I talked about the 9 criterias that are part of the BPD diagnosis and how you have to meet at least 5 of them. So within the 9, each one has its own like clusters and multitudes of symptoms and traits and characteristics. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys an example / symptom or thing that I deal with within each one of those things, because as you guys know, I suffer with all 9 out of the 9 listed in the criteria, which is very unfortunate and it's hard to handle. So for each one, I do have a
He did a little eyebrow flash there whenever she mentioned again having all 9. I think he's very skeptical of her having all 9.
multitude of symptoms, and I'm not going to sit here and name off every single one. Like, that is so much information, and also it's a lot of things that I'm embarrassed about. It's a lot of things that I am ashamed about. I'm not ashamed of the BPD diagnosis, but I am ashamed of some of the things that I do and have done. So number 1 is frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. So something I do with that, when I'm in a long distance relationship and I'm having an argument with my partner and they like hang up on me or they're ignoring my calls, I will literally frantically call them at least like 30 times in hopes that they will answer me. The best way I can describe it is like it's this fire burning like urgency that I literally cannot control. Like, I get super anxious and I'm scared. I feel like they hate me. They're never going to talk to me again. So I just frantically call, text, and I genuinely look insane when I do it. So number 2 is a pattern.
Okay, I appreciate that she's going through some real world examples of some of the challenges that she has faced, especially like in this context of romantic relationships. I talked about wanting some examples earlier, so this would be helpful in informing kind of that diagnostic process. Again, I want to say that this example by itself does not qualify her to be diagnosed for borderline personality disorder. Of course, there's only one criterion, and you could be talking about a lot of different issues here. But what I would pick at is some of her language, and this would be kind of some of the DBT and CBT and me coming out and saying like, hey, you're saying that you can't control this. We're just not at a point where we've learned the skills or developed the skills to be able to manage and control that kind of situation. But yes, I can get the feeling of anxiety and panic that, oh my gosh, this person's never going to talk to me again. I've lost them forever.
Of unstable and intense interpersonal relationships characterized by alternating between extremes of idealization and devaluation. So this is something that you guys have actually noticed that I do, is I will be in a relationship with someone and I'll come on here and I'll be like, they're so perfect. I have never loved someone as much as I love this person. Like, this is the best relationship I've ever been in. That's me idolizing them. But if they do one small thing that makes me question if they love me, or makes me question their loyalty to me, or if I can trust them, or whatever it may be, instantly those feelings go away. And I think, oh my God, like, they hate me, so I really truly hate them in this moment. Everything is bad, and like all of the good just like completely vanishes. So that is what people call the black and white thinking. Number 3.
Yeah, black and white thinking, and cognitive behavioral therapy labeled as a cognitive distortion, and that's definitely something that her therapist should be drawing her attention to, this pattern, and recognizing that it's a pattern.
Amberlynn's recognized this for a while, that she's very much a black or white, all or nothing kind of person.
Is important, so that when we start having those kinds of thoughts, it's important that we don't let our feelings dictate how we are responding, but really evaluating the situation, using our emotional regulation and distress tolerance skills to bring that emotional intensity and level down so that we can think clearly. Am I engaging in this pattern of black and white thinking that has gotten me in trouble in the past?
3 is identity disturbance, which is markedly and persistently unstable self-image or sense of self. So something that you guys have actually noticed is I adopt people's personalities or behaviors or the way they speak, and it's something like I genuinely cannot control. Number 4.
Yes.
Again, she hasn't learned to control it.
So in combination with what she was talking about, the extremes of the relationship, what I've heard from clinicians, clients with BPD will come off very likable at first because they are talking like you, they seem to share the same interests as you, and they're very warm and effusive because that's part of the idealizing part. Like, you're the best therapist I ever had, man. All my other ones are terrible, and they just were not the right person for me, but you are it. Like, I see we have so much in common, all of this stuff. And then slowly, as they get more comfortable with you, you start seeing that there is less substance to that either therapeutic relationship or in an interpersonal relationship, that actual relationship, than you thought initially. I wouldn't say this is intentional manipulation, but it's part of the pattern of borderline personality disorder.
That makes sense, yeah. And like Amberlynn does do that a lot with people. She'll take on their personality and then slowly change a little bit. But something that I've thought that probably happened with previous therapists, that she would see them just for a little bit, is as soon as they give a little bit of pushback, like, okay, well, let's look at your behaviors and see where you've gone wrong. And she's like, nope, I'm done with you, because she takes it as a slight against herself.
and that people start getting a sense that, hey, something is off with this relationship.
Impulsivity in at least 2 areas that are potentially self-damaging, for example, spending, sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, binge eating, etc. So I actually never realized that the way that I eat and my eating issues could be due to having BPD, but it turns out it very well could be. Number 5 is recurrent suicidal behavior, gestures, or threats, or self-mutilating behavior. So sometimes when I'm having like an actual full-fledged meltdown, I threaten suicide. I have suicidal ideation. I do want to make it very clear, I will never do something to harm myself. But in that moment, during that meltdown, more than anything else in the world, because of the pain that I feel, because when you do have BPD, like the pain that you feel is literally overbearing. But because of that pain, I genuinely do not want to be alive anymore in that moment. I have actually embarrassingly documented a moment of me having that before. It was during like 100 days of uploading. I think it was in like 2019 or 2020, a video of me expressing that I felt suicidal. I didn't say those words completely, but it was how I was feeling in the moment. You guys couldn't see that in the video, but I was hurting. I was hurting really bad. And a lot of people was calling me a liar, and in return, it was actually just making me feel worse. Like, this is hard for me to open up about, like extremely hard. And it's things that like I've always suffered with in private. I remember one of the first times that I actually expressed out loud my suicidal ideation. I was 15 years old and I actually was sent to a mental hospital. But again, I would never in a million years do anything to hurt myself. It's just in those moments, like during a meltdown, you hurt so bad that that just seems like the best option. So it's a
Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. Suicidal ideation is unfortunately a common symptom across many psychiatric diagnoses. And the scary part is that you can say all you want that, I'd never do it in a million years. But then in those moments, like she's saying, if
You
you're
feel
talking
like
about
you
somebody
could.
who has BPD, that overwhelming feeling of pain, isolation, rejection, coupled with the impulsivity, it's really hard to say what someone might or might not do because they don't feel like they're in their right minds at that moment. And so that's why it's important to have coping and safety planning in place, emergency numbers to call, people who you can rely on for support, because especially from a liability point of view for my clients, I'm not going home with them. I don't want to go home with them. I don't monitor them 24/7. And so it's important for me to be talking to, if they're a teenager or a child, their guardians or their parents, or if they're an adult, loved ones around them, family members who can support them and be checking in on them, as well as them having access to emergency numbers if needed. But this is also why I feel like it'd be very challenging to open up about your mental health online for strangers to watch, because like I'm reiterating so many times, I don't see the full picture on here. I see what she chooses to present, and it looks like she edits a lot less than other YouTubers, but at the same time, I'm still not going to be able to pick up on all the nuances of everything that she's experiencing, because that's just not how the medium works. And so she was talking about being judged over that one video where she was expressing feeling very depressed, very isolated, and wanting to end it all. And people were judging her, evaluating her, oh, you're not telling the truth, you're just playing this up, or whatever they might have been saying. And I could see how that could make things feel a lot worse.
fleeting thought, and I don't want anyone to worry about me, please. Like, this is just another one of those symptoms that I suffer with. So number 6 is affective instability due to a marked reactivity of mood. So for example, intense episodic dysphoria, irritability, or anxiety usually lasting a few hours and only rarely more than a few days. So this is very much like my mood swings, where something so small could happen, but I feel so strongly about it. So a good example of that would be if I send a long, sweet message to my partner saying like, I love you, I've been thinking about you, I miss you, like, I can't wait to talk to you again, just whatever it may be. And like all they send back in response is love you too. That triggers something inside of me so hardcore where I feel uncared for, I feel unloved, I feel unappreciated, and it absolutely like sends me into this like abandonment feeling, and I spiral. At least
Okay, I know you all saw me laughing at that. The only reason I was laughing was because like almost anyone would be bothered by that. You put a lot of thought into this message that you're sending and you get like a K or a thumbs up. So that's what I was laughing at. That's almost a universal thing, but of course this is not a universal symptom. It's brought out as a lot of things in BPD to an extreme degree where for her maybe that might mean rejection, whereas for people who don't have BPD it might be annoying but not devastating.
anxious.
So, something that I was just thinking about, I forgot to mention, Emily has deleted her Instagram. She posted something yesterday. I don't think I was able to screen cap it, but the last post she had was like a sunset picture and talking about Colleen, because I think it was the anniversary of Colleen passing, possibly. And yeah, a really long post about how much she missed and loved Colleen. and I don't think I did a screen cap of it. Um, I'll have to look. But and then like a few hours later, their Instagram was gone. So I don't know what triggered the deletion of that, but no, I did not screen cap it.
I'm worried, and sometimes it sends me into a meltdown, and sometimes like I'm genuinely just like frantically journaling about it. Number 7 is chronic feelings of emptiness. So that's pretty explanatory. Sometimes like I feel so lonely that I genuinely feel like I'm the last person on earth. So as I'm editing this, I'm realizing that I was way too vague with that answer. But for me, when I have chronic loneliness, which is quite frequently, it is heavy, it is painful, it sends me down major depressive episodes. Like, I can be in a room with 10 people and feel lonely. I can be in my room by myself and feel lonely. I could be hugging someone I love and feel lonely. It doesn't matter. Sometimes the loneliness, like, genuinely makes me feel like I am not loved by a single person on this planet, and I am not cared for by a single person on this planet.
And as she's talking about this is something that I struggle with a lot of my clients, especially when we're doing stuff with like DBT and CBT. It's like, well, it doesn't feel that way, right? Like if she's saying she's hugging her significant other, her romantic partner, right? And that is a very clear sign that there's affection, there's a togetherness there. And she's saying, I don't feel that. I still feel alone. And this is why we can't run our lives based on how we feel, because those feelings are not always grounded in reality. And that's a lot of what DBT and CBT kind of get at. But a lot of times we need to take those steps to emotionally regulate, bring down our emotional level, so that we can think more rationally through what is actually true, what's actually going on here. And I am curious, as she's talking about these very personal things, obviously I haven't dug through all the comments on her videos and things like that, but I am curious what her community's response to these sharings are. That is,
Don't read the comments because they are overwhelmingly going to be people being negative. So I wouldn't use the I wouldn't use the comments as a gauge.
it does seem very open and vulnerable. Whether misguided or not, she is sharing something that is affecting her deeply. And so I'm curious what the level of support and interaction has been like for
There's no support.
those of you who are familiar with her channel.
And it sends me down like a pretty bad depressive episode for sure. Number 8 is inappropriate intense anger or difficulty controlling anger. So for example, frequent displays of temper, constant anger, or reoccurrent physical fights. So for me, I am not like a physically abusive person, but I have done some yelling. I'm not gonna lie about that. If I feel uncared for or like not seen or unheard, which is actually a BPD symptom, sometimes it genuinely can lead to like loud yelling with like hysterical crying. So the last one, which is number 9, which is transient stress related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. So sometimes I feel completely detached, like from myself and from my memories. So that's why sometimes I can share something from like my childhood that genuinely hurt me, and I could seem like unbothered, or I could like nervously laugh about it, while other times I can share the exact same story and cry about it. So those are just some examples of like the multitude, and I'm telling you, a multitude of things that I deal with that I didn't share. So those are just like a few that I wanted to just like give you guys a little look into, because I'm telling you, this is a lot of information for me to absorb and for me to share. I'm a bit overwhelmed, and I don't want to overwhelm anyone else. And I feel better sharing this part of me, because all of these issues that I've had for so long, I've been like, what is wrong with me? What is happening? Finally, there was a name to it, and I was ashamed. And that's why I didn't tell you guys when I was first diagnosed, because I was like, what, are you joking me? And slowly I've realized there's nothing to be ashamed about. Like, yeah, I'm ashamed of some things I've done in the past, of course, and some things that I currently do. But like, I cannot show you guys that I'm improving unless I show you guys certain things that I have done and certain things that I do, you know, a year or two down the line, be like, you guys, remember when I told you I did A, B, and C? I haven't done A, B, and C in 6 months. So I know as I do more of this workbook, there's going to be a lot more topics of like more symptoms and more things like that. So I will share more of that when we get to those chapters.
Yeah, so again, ending on an empowering and uplifting message, I think, like she said, there's power in being able to share, even with an unseen audience, what you're struggling with, what you are working on, because a lot of the stigma and the challenge associated with these mental health disorders is that we want to keep it hidden away. We think other people will think this of us. People will hate me. People will disown me, will reject me. And then it can be very freeing to break from that belief and say, this is just what I'm dealing with right now. And no matter people's responses to it, there's at least power in being able to name what's going on. And she said that having that diagnosis finally organized put all of these random seeming things into one complete category of BPD, so that she understood this is the pattern that my life has been taking, and now I can do something about it. So I've got no arguments with that piece. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'll just end going back to this piece here. For anyone who's following along, and if you're concerned that you might have BPD based on some of the symptoms that she's talking about, and you're like, hey, that kind of happens to me too, remember that it is kind of a diagnosis of last resort when there's no better explanation. And a lot of these symptoms are characteristics in other diagnoses as well. So just because you check off a couple boxes does not mean you automatically have borderline personality disorder.
Right.
Again, I'll point to this C criterion where the impairments are relatively stable across time and consistent across situations. That's what we're looking for as like one of the hallmarks and defining characteristics of a personality disorder, is that this happens no matter where you're at and across a broad period of time. So this is a difficult watch. I don't have much of a final conclusion for you all. Again, I gave my thoughts as she was talking, and it helps to have her thoughts to kind of organize what I would like to say about personality disorders in general, borderline personality disorder specifically, and some of the treatments associated with it. Again, I don't have the history to say whether she's being genuine or if she's a very good actress or whatever. I think the conversations about mental health are important.
I wouldn't say she's a good actress, but I think based on what we know of Amberlynn's history, that this is accurate depictions.
Again, I have some concerns about potentially self-diagnosing or coming into a therapist's office and saying, I have BPD and treat me as such. I think that would be on the professional to do their own due diligence and come up with a diagnosis of their own, and whether that confirms or rejects that hypothesis that the client brings in, that's a separate discussion that you all have to have together. But let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on what she has said? If you'd be interested in more, I guess, kind of deep dives like this, following along with her vlog as she talks about her treatment and therapy process. For now, please do like and
I think that'd be interesting.
subscribe. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video, and I'll see you all next time.
All right, yeah, that was a long one. I think that was good. I think that was a really good watch. Oop. Now he does have another video that we're not gonna have time to watch today, and I'll try to get it in maybe before he goes live with Tiny Blue Anthropologist. But yeah, you know, and as I said before, when it comes to the self-reporting, your therapy is only as good as what you're telling your therapist. So um, if you're saying extremes, the therapist is going to have to really kind of ask more questions to get to the root of it, and to make sure that it isn't just a, you know, BPD overreaction or exaggeration of the feelings and emotions, because that's what in that moment you're feeling. Um, so yeah, I think that was good. I like his videos. I like his calm approach, and the way he approaches things. I'll have to subscribe and watch more of his videos on other topics. But I think I need to go fix some lunch. I need to get all my stuff together to work on taxes at some point. I might play some video games before that, or I might go run some errands. We shall see. But I think that's going to be all we have for today. I do hope you have had a wonderful day. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me today and hanging out a little bit. But yeah, I just hope you have a great day. And I will try to see, let me see how long his next video is. It's 35 minutes. So we can maybe squeeze that in between work and D&D tomorrow, possibly. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in between work and D&D. So I'm shutting here. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Don't forget to file your taxes if you're in the US and haven't yet. And yeah, just have a good day. And until next time, be safe and take care.